This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, good morning. In today's session, we are going to discuss about how to run a task and how to schedule and then how to manually execute those tasks. Okay, we're going to see step by step today. In that session, I'm going to discuss about the task scheduling, trigger task, and then how to manually execute task. What's the version of task runs? How can automatically suspend the task after failed runs? Automatically retry failed task runs. We're going to see one by one. Okay, you guys know like our task is to schedule your SQL queries as well as you can schedule your procs and then Snowflake scripting language. So you can able to schedule it using task. Task is one of the database object in Snowflake. Okay, now we're going to see the task scheduling. Everyone knows about task scheduling. Whenever creating any new task, you have to schedule. Okay, the mostly the schedule will start from only minutes. Okay, you have to give the schedulers only for minutes, or you can use any cron pattern to schedule your jobs. For example, if you want to start the jobs on Sunday or Saturday at specific time, you can use this scheduling one. You can use one parameter called schedule parameter. I'll say this to you guys. We have to use which parameter? Schedule parameter. It will accept only minutes, not seconds, not hours. It will accept only minutes. That's what they're saying here is. And then you can schedule your task at to execute at a specific time. Now you guys have a question. I have two tasks. Okay, I have two tasks. If one task is still running and taking around 2 to 3 minutes, the task keep on running the SQL queries. Okay, because you run some complex SQL queries, it's running for 2 to 3 minutes. When the next task starts triggering, right, what will happen? The next task won't trigger. Guys, I'm saying to you, you have two tasks, task one and task two. Task one is triggered, it's taking more than 3 minutes. When the next task started running, right, what happens? It won't run because till the task one is running is completed, then only the task two will trigger. Okay, if the task two time is elapsed, what happens? It won't run. Now I'm going to give one hint to you guys. Now I given the task one as 1 minute interval, task two is 2 minute. In the task one, I attend some of the complex SQL queries like 20 table joins and putting all these things. It will take 1 minute, taking more time to complete. Okay. Now, a task two has to start after 2 minutes. What happens? This task one itself taking nearly to execute SQL query taking around 5 minutes of time. How much time? 5 minutes of time. This 1 minute for triggering. This complex query executing more than 5 minutes. Now the task two won't trigger. Once it's completed, then task 2 will trigger. But what happens, right? It's not completing, taking more than 5 minutes, taking more than 5 minutes. That's why task 2 won't trigger. Okay, that's what they're mentioning here is, if a task is still running when the next scheduled execution time occurs, that the scheduled time is skipped. Scheduled time is skipped. Now you guys have to say. Now Sendavan has to answer. Task will trigger 1 minute. Every 1 minute will trigger. But the SQL queries is taking nearly 5 minutes to execute the task. Now, task 2 will be trigger or not. Or you have to say task 2 will skip or trigger. Send them an answer for this. Task 1 taking, the interval time is 1 minute. At 1 minute interval, trigger the SQL queries. SQL query taking more than 5 minutes. The entire task completion taking around 5 minutes. Now task 2 will skip or trigger. I'm asking Sendamal to answer whether task 2 is skipped or trigger. Task 2 is skipped or trigger. Anyone?
Sir, trigger, sir.
This conference will now be recorded.
Guys, I'm keep on saying to you, if task 1 is taking interval is 1 minute, after 1 minute, your task will trigger. It will run the cycle for 5 minutes. Okay, what happens? The task 2 is at 2 minutes. Okay, once the task 1 is complete, it will take 5 minutes. It is elapsing the time. Okay, it elapses the time. That's why it will be skipped. That's why it will be skipped. That's what they're mentioning is if a task is still running when the next scheduled execution time occurs, then the scheduled time is skipped. Okay, you guys might have a question. Why it's getting skipped? Because it using only one instance. Snowflake ensures only one instance of task. Only one task can be scheduled because we have only one instance. We can say only one machine or one PC. Okay, you can't able to schedule multiple tasks at the same time. Okay, if you are have multiple tasks, what happened? The task 1 is completed, then task will trigger. If task 1 took more time, right, the task 2 will be skipped because if the next scheduled execution time occurs, then the scheduled time is skipped. Okay, and then Snowflake automatically will resize and rescale the compute resources for server task. Everyone knows we have two tasks. One is user managed task, another one is serverless task. Serverless task, what will happen, right? It will automatically resize and scale the compute resources as per the workloads. As per the workloads, it will resize your size and scale your compute resources. For user managed task, what happens, right? You have to choose appropriate warehouses. You have to choose a warehouse size. Okay, as per the workloads, you have to choose it. Okay, now come with the task scheduling and daylight save time. Okay, daylight saving time already discussed, guys. If you are using cron tab pattern in European countries and North America, they and Australia, they'll follow the daylight saving time. What happens, right? In the daylight saving time, they'll be setting the clock forward by 1 hour during warmer months. Okay, and then to extend the evening daylight savings. And then mostly this concept was introduced by Benjamin Franklin in 1974 and later formalized by George Wenham Hudson in 1895. And then mostly this DST, what they will do, right? It will be the date will be different in all the countries. Okay, in Australia they'll follow the different DST dates, and then the in North America, European, will follow the different DST dates. Mostly the start of DST, what they will do, right? The clocks are set forward 1 year, usually in spring, and then the end of DST, what they'll follow, clock is set back by 1 hour. Typically, I can say in the antonym, they'll follow. They will clock is set back by 1 hour. Now, what are the advantages of this daylight saving? You can reduce the need of artificial intelligence and heating. Okay, and then second one is I can say if you have more daylight hours, right, for outdoor activities you can spend. Okay, and then third one, economic benefits also there. You can increase the consumer spending in retail shops and recreated sectors. You can use it. Okay, yeah, these are the various advantages we have. And then I'm going to give an example to you guys. What happens, right? During the change of daylight saving time to standard time, what happens, right? The task scheduled at 1 a.m. America, Los Angeles. Okay, I schedule my job at 1 a.m. in America, Los Angeles. Okay, what happens, right? if you are keeping 1 a.m., what happens? Your jobs will trigger twice. Your jobs will trigger twice. At the time, what happens, right? What happens at 1 a.m. Then again 1:15 also the job will trigger. What happens? What you have to do? If during daylight saving, you have to shift your job time as well. Now, what you have to do during the change from daylight saving time, you have to make it 2 a.m. You have to make it 2 a.m. And then if you are scheduling the job at 2 a.m., then you have to make it 3 a.m. Okay, yeah, though it's a warmer month, you have to keep forward. That's what the saying is. And then to avoid the unexpected task execution due to the daylight saving time, don't schedule tasks to run between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. Okay, and then whenever daylight saving occurs, you have to manually adjust the cron expression task should be between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. twice each year to compensate the time change. Okay, because if you are following the UTC time format, right, between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., okay, what happens? Manually, you have to change twice a year. In a year, twice we have to change. Okay, in a year, twice we have to change because once the DST starts, you have to change the time, and then once the DST ends, you have to change the time. That's what I'm saying is in a year, twice you have to change. This is how you can able to do the task scheduling. Once using cron time pattern, as per the DST, you have to change the forward by 1 hour, as well as once the DST ends, you have to back the clock by 1 hour again. Now, good. Now, second feature is triggered task. It's one of the preview feature. Like few months, it's available in Snowflake. Okay, it's a preview feature. It's open for all the accounts. What happens? This triggered task mostly used in streams. In a source table, if any DML operation, DML means insert, update, or delete operation happen, what happens, right? At the time, it will take the delta 1 and then it will perform your transformation on the delta records. This is a new feature actually. Triggered task don't use compute resources until the defined stream as data and the trigger the task run. நான் என்ன சொல்ல வரேன் அப்படின்னா அந்த டேபிள்ல ஒரு நியூ டேட்டா வர வரையும் based on my DML things insert updates or deletes ஓகேங்களா நியூ டேட்டா வர வரையும் the trigger task does not come use the compute resources. Trigger task does not use the compute resources. Once a new data arrives, then only the trigger task will consume the resources. Now I'm going to give some hints to you guys. When data is changed in the table, then the associated stream tracks. I already said in the source table, if you are doing insert, updates, or deletes, what happened? The data will get changed. For that changes alone, you're going to apply the
Trigger task.
trigger task. If the data is not changed, whether the trigger task will compute any resources?
No, sir.
No, it will not use any compute resources until any data got changed or new data has arrived. It won't use a compute resources. That's what this is an important feature in the task. Okay. Now, second point I want to discuss. Now the task is resumed. Okay, when the task is first time resumed to consume any data already in the stream. Okay, what they're saying is if the task is resumed, it will consume any data already in the stream, any new data or any change data. Okay, it will try to consume. Now, and then trigger task, what you can do, right? You can automatically do a health check for every 12 hours. Every 12 hours, whether the task is active or not. Every 12 hours, you can do the health check, whether it's active state or not. Okay, okay, because what happens, right? Sometimes task will become stale. Okay, it will go to suspend state. It will go to stale, or it will not be used. That's why you have to do some health checks for every 12 hours. If you want to do the health checks for every 6 hours, you can change the parameter, and then every 6 hours you can do the health checks. That's also possible. And then what happens, right? If there's no data in the source table, in the stream table, Snowflake skip the runs without using compute resources. So this what I'm saying is, in the source table I don't have any data, new data. Snowflake what will do? It will skip the runs without using the compute resources. If any new data arrives, it will take the data and then it will run the SQL queries. That's what the saying is. This is the important feature. It's one of preview feature. No one is using the company actually. Okay, it's a preview feature. Third one is creating trigger task. Okay, not third one, the second one only. How to create trigger task. Now, same thing only. Create task, give some task name, give the values. Now, you have to write one condition. When condition, system dollar. Dollar means the system function. System function is stream as data. Stream as data, and then you have to give a stream name. Okay. What you have to do, right? On top of the table, you can create a stream. If anything happened in the table, any updates or deletes, any inserts happen in the table, it will get those delta. It will get those delta. That delta alone, you can do some transformations, or you can do all kind of manipulations. You can do. That's what this is a built-in function. System dollar of stream as data. If the table is having any new data, you will get the data. See, you will get the data, and then we'll insert into this my downstream table. Arif, understood? What I'm doing is, I have a source table. On top of source table, I'm getting a stream. In the table, any updates or deletes or inserts happen, I will take those delta changes, and finally the delta will be inserted into the
My downstream table.
my downstream table. That is called trigger task. Now, this my stream is not having any updates, no deletes, no inserts, whether trigger task will be triggered or not.
Will not be triggered, sir.
It will not trigger, whether it will compute any resource or not.
No, sir. Won't come.
No,
Compute.
that's what I mentioned here is very careful, guys. It won't consume any data or in the stream. Okay, it won't consume any resources until the defined stream has data. Okay, that's what I mentioned here. This is how you can create the trigger task. This is a pre-feature, guys. In company, they are not using this thing, but you can say expose in the interview like I'm creating some trigger task. Whenever the new data arrives to my table, this system dollar stream as data will check for condition. If any new data arrives, it will put into the my
Hold
downstream
on.
table. Now, these things I'm not going to show, guys. Okay, like whenever I'm taking streams, right, at that time I'll use these functions. Now my focus is only on the task, not on streams. Now, if I want to creating some triggered task, right, automatically it will be in the suspend state. Automatically in the suspend state, I want to resume my suspend state to suspend state to resume stage. Okay, alter task, and then give the trigger task name, and then keep it resume. It will move from suspend state to resume state. And then next one is alter task. You can make it suspend also, and then you can make alter task resume also. And then if you are keeping some schedule over here, if you are keeping some schedule in the trigger tasks, like you can, if you are creating some schedule equal to 5 minute. Okay, what you can do, guy, right? You can set unset the schedule as well. You can answer the schedule as well. Mostly in streams, right? No one will use a schedule. Do you know why? In streams, no one will use a schedule. Do you know why? In streams, no one will use a schedule. Do you know why? Arif?
Because first running task will be more time, sir.
No, not like that. See, this stream as data, right? What will happen if anything happen in the source table, update or insert, delete, it will take those deltas and then it will insert the table. No need of any schedule for that. If any new data is in the table, it will take the delta and insert the table. Why you want to give another schedule like this? Okay, if you are not using this stream for things, right, then you have to schedule it every 5 minutes or every 1 minute. You have to schedule and then you have to do some transformations, okay, using task. Good. Now, trigger task considerations. Okay, trigger task consideration means you can use show task to see all those tasks, and then you can have one more command as well, describe task. You can see all the information, what the when it's got created, what's the task name, and then what's the schedule property. Whether schedule property, what will happen, right? It will display null for trigger task. It will display null. Now, or if will say, while describing the task in the schedule column, it displaying null. Do you know why? For trigger task. Why displaying null? Because I am not giving it. I am not giving any schedule over here. I am not giving any schedule over here. That's why in that property it's giving only null value for trigger task. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then second point I want to discuss here. If you look at the task history view, there is a one more table is there. Okay, task history view. You have to go to the information schema. Information schema will have all the metadata informations. If you put information schema dot task history view, what you can see, right? You can see so many columns. In that, there will be one column called scheduled from. Scheduled from, the value will display like trigger. What you have to think like, okay, this schedule column is having a trigger. That's why it's a trigger task is enabled for this corresponding task. Whenever the new data arrives into the table, automatically it will take the delta part and then it's going to insert in some other downstream table. Okay, and then for trigger task, you can able to alter task, suspend, alter task, resume. You can do all things. Now we're going to see limitations. In trigger task, we have some various limitations. You can't apply streams on dynamic tables, iceberg tables, data shares, data tables, external tables are not supported. Anand, for trigger tasks not supported on dynamic tables, iceberg tables, data shares, data tables, external tables are not supported. And then serverless tasks are not supported for trigger tasks. If you are using trigger tasks, serverless tasks are not supported. And then trigger task can't use overlapping execution. I'm going to discuss later what is meant by overlapping execution. Okay, trigger task can't use overlapping execution. We're going to see all these things, guys. Iceberg tables, hoodie tables. Okay, it won't support. The task won't support on these things. Now we'll come to this part. Manually executing task. For manually executing task, I'll give one hint to you guys. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I want to manually execute a task. Okay. For example, whether you want to check the task is working or not, whether you want to check the task is working or not, it's going to manually trigger a single run of task. Now, what you have to do, execute task. You have to give your
Task name.
task name. What happens, right? Even though while creating the task, it will be in suspended state. For checking purpose, you can what you can use Execute task name you can do. Okay, what happens, right? If you're giving execute as task name, the delta will be inserted into the my downstream table. Okay, but what happens, right? Your task will be in the suspended state. Only for this action, only single action will perform. Okay, only one time you can able to what you can do, you can insert the delta records into the table. If you want to make this trigger task enable, what I have to do? What I have to do?
Alter
Alter task,
task name.
alter task,
Task name.
task name, and then resume. From suspend state to will come to the resume state. Now every 5 minutes what will happen? Now if you are giving schedule, every 5 minutes will trigger. If you are not giving schedule, what will happen, right? If any new data arrives in the table, it will do or it will insert the delta into this table. Got it? This only for executing a single task, only particular point of time, whether you're checking whether it's working or not. That's what you have to use execute task. Okay, now good. Now next one is versioning of tasks. Now guys, while creating a task, I'm creating some task. Okay, I'm creating some task, and then while creating the task, whether it will be in the suspend state or resume state.
Suspend state.
Suspend state. Okay, if I put alter task and then task name resume means then it will come to the resume state. Okay, in the active state will come. Now what happens, right? We want to many versions. Which version we going to use? Okay, now after resuming, it maintains a initial version of the task. Initial version means it will make it as task 0, sorry, version 0. It will maintain the version as 0. If you are making any changes in the warehouse and then you are creating the task again, means it will keep the version 1. Again you're changing schedule and then creating a same task, it will give version 2. It will maintain the different versions. What I'm saying is, guys, just create this task, just create this task. If I want to alter the task, what I will do? Alter task, my task, set schedule equal 10 minutes. I'm altering the task. Schedule equal to
10
instead of
minutes.
5, 10 minutes. What happened? Again, it will maintain the different version. Now it's version 0. If you are again altering, it will keep the version 1. Again, if you altering means give the version 2. Like this, you will have the n number of versions. Okay. Now that's what they're saying is, um, okay, when a standalone task is first resumed or manually executed, initial version of task is set. If a first time creating or manually executing means what is the command? For manual execute, what is the command? Anand.
Alter.
For manual execution, what is the command? For manual execution, what is the command, guys? Anyone?
Sir, execute
Execute task name.
task name.
Okay, that's a manual execute command. Okay, if you are resuming or manually executed, initial version of task is set. Okay, that's going to be a standard task version using this version. Now point number 2, if a task is suspended and modified, what happens? A new version will be set. If you are creating any task for schedule or something you're changing, right, a new version will be set um, when the standard task is resumed or manually executed. Okay, guys, what you have to do, I'm going to give an example. Suppose the task is suspended, but scheduled run of the task that has already started. See, guys, I'm suspending on task, but the schedule has started already. Schedule has started already. Now, the one of task modifies SQL code called a task while the task is still running. Now, I'll take into the picture. I'm creating one task. Task is 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, I'm altering the task. Altering task. The task name is my task and change schedule. Change schedule and then equal to 5 minutes. 5 minutes and then I'm changing some queries as well. Alter task, my task, and then changing some queries, complex queries I'm changing. Okay, changing complex queries, changing complex queries. Now what happened, right? After 2 minutes, you are altering this task or you are altering some queries. Now this task will execute the operations with the previous version. Sendamal, you got it? Now already task created. I should have 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, it starts triggering. It's executing the task. After 2 minutes, what I'm doing is I'm changing some queries. I'm changing my task schedule. What happens, right? This task will run with the previous version because while altering the task, what happened? Or version got
Updated.
version changed.
Change.
Again, you're altering. What happened? Version got
Change this.
changed. But but the task is sorted initially. Which task version will run? Actually, it will run on which version?
Previous. Previous.
It will run on version
Z.
version
Zero.
version 0. Okay, it won't take these changes. It won't take whatever changes you made, right? After triggering, if you are doing something right, it won't take the changes. It won't take the changes. Okay, once the task is completed, then only take the changes. At the meantime, it will take only work on the version 0. That's what they given the example here. Suppose task is suspended, but scheduled run of tasks is already started. The what task modify SQL code called by the task, while the task is still running. The task run executes SQL code definition using the version of the task that is current when the task order is run. What happens, right? While triggering which task it has, right? That task only trigger. Okay, if you are modifying something SQL code or any schedule, it won't take those changes. Okay, once you are modified, right, you have to make alter task name resume, then only that version will be affected. Okay, till then the version will not be affected. Okay, now the next feature I'm going to show to you is automatically suspend task after failure runs. We have to set one parameter, suspend task after number of failures. You can define this while creating the task. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this one and going to paste it here. Now Arif will answer. Suspend task after number of failures. What I given Arif? I given 5. What happened? Suspend task after number of failures. 5 minutes, some failure is there. First failure. Another 5 minutes, second failure will be there. Third 5 minutes, another failure will be there. Fourth 5 minutes, another failure will be. Fifth 5 minutes, another failure will be. Totally number of failures is 5. Automatically what will happen? You will suspend the
Suspended, sir. Suspended
task
the test.
after number of failures. You can set
Failure.
the limit as well. Okay, you can set the limit 10, 15, 20. You can set any number of limits. You can use this parameter. Interview will ask this question to you guys. Okay, you have to answer. Okay, we can suspend task after number of failures. This is a parameter you have to substitute it. After number of failures, automatically this my task will be suspended. Good. Now, yeah, the beauty in this suspend task after failure in future is it's going to reduce the cost. If I am not enabling this parameter, what will happen, Satish? Every 5 minutes, it's keep on triggering the failed task. Okay, like what happens, the consumption, the resource consumption will be more, and then the cost also they will charge. Snowflake will charge the cost. If you give this parameter, what happens after 10 failures? What will happen? Your task will go to the suspend state.
Snowflake.
Then you will what will happen? You can reduce your cost. You can reduce your cost. That's what the saying here is. This future can reduce the cost by suspending the task and consume the Snowflake credits by fail to run the completion. See guys, if it's failing 10 times, why you want to run again? Anand, if it's failing a number of 10 number of times, why you want to run again? That's why putting the suspend task after number of failures equal 10. Got it? Good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, next one feature is automatically retrieve failed task runs. Automatically retrieve. If any failure happens, what I going to do? I going to add this parameter. What parameter?
Ask auto retry.
Task auto retry.
Task auto retry. Okay, I'm just going to comment this part as of now. I'm going to comment means I'm going to put hyphen. Okay. I'm going to give number of times. How much times I want to retry? If I give 5, how much times will it retry?
5 times, sir.
5 times my task will retry. Okay, like task auto retry means like failure happens means it will retry. Some network issues are failure happens means it will retry 5 times. Okay, this thing you can do. Now, if I enabling these two parameter, what will happen? What will happen? Guys, if I enable two parameter, what will happen, right? First, what will happen? One failure will happen.
And
It will
again
retry,
it will be
it retry 5 times. And then what happens, right? And then it will capture count as well. This task will capture count as well. Okay, now count will be like totally 6. Again I will retry, it will exceed the count, I will go to suspend state. That's it. Okay, these are the very features are in this task. Okay, now yeah guys, what I'm going to do is today's session I'm going to show one demo how to build a serverless Snowflake task. Serverless Snowflake task. Till now, we have seen managed task, right? Today's session, we're going to see the serverless Snowflake task. Everything taken care of Snowflake. As per the workloads, it automatically scale up and scale down for each workload to serverless model. Now, for creating serverless task, what I'm going to do is just I going to have my snow site, take a snow site, and create one new worksheet. Click place, and then go to the SQL worksheet. Yeah, just choose a database, DB, and have the schema called public schema, and then choose a role as account admin and warehouse as computer underscore WH. Good. Now, what I'm going to do is very simple thing I'm going to do. We are war shooting our time. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one table called employee table. Create a table, guys. Create a table. Yeah, just create a table. Create table. Employees. Keep one column called ID, int, name, first name, varchar, last name, varchar of 255. Okay. Yeah, that's more than enough, guys. Just I'm going to create a table, ID, first name, and last name. Okay. Now the table got created. It's saying like employees already exist. Okay, just I'm going to make employees underscore info. Employees underscore info. Employees underscore info. Just do one thing, guys. If you are doing like this, create or replace. Yeah, now the table got created. Now the table got created, guys. Now what I'm going to do is going to create a serverless Snowflake task. Now what you have to do, right? You have to use this command create task, give some task name. Okay, just I'm going to keep like dbload serverless. This is my serverless task name, serverless. Okay, and then as for syntax I'm doing, guys, and then you have to choose user task manage initial warehouse size. User task managed initial warehouse size. Okay, you can keep you can keep like user task managed initial warehouse size equal to x small. I'm just initializing, Anand, I'm just initializing. Okay, you might have a question. Though the name is user task, first time initializing as x small. As per the workloads, what will happen? This x small will convert into x large, double XL large, as per your workloads. What are the complex queries you're using, right? It will change. But initially, what I'm doing, user only initializing this warehouse size. Are you got it? Arif, got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Though it's serverless, but user only have to initialize its warehouse size. But later, as per the workloads, what will happen? It will convert into x small to x large and double XL large. It will choose their warehouse, depends on the workloads. Now, I'm going to keep some schedule, or you can use a cron as well. Okay, just copy as it is. Can anyone say how to convert into cron? Anyone? I given 5 minutes. How to convert into cron? Anyone? Using cron, you have to give cron pattern, and then you have to give UTC, unit cell time coordinates. You have to follow. In this way, you can pass. Another way, what you can do, you can follow some standard time interval as well. 3 minute, or you can make it 2 minute. Anything is fine. And then give as, and then what I'm going to do is insert into what's my table name? It's a downstream table name. It's my downstream table name. What are columns I have? ID, Sendamal, first name, and then last name. Val is going to be, ID is 123. First name is Anand. Last name is Sendamal. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is very simple, guys. I'm going to create a serverless task. Though it's very simple query, okay, simple statement. That's why you use xmall. If you are writing so many joins or something, right? Automatically, what will happen? So then automatically, what will happen? Xmall convert to xmall will convert to
X
X
large.
large.
x large or double XL large. Anything will convert. Okay. Now just I'm creating the serverless task. Everything managed Snowflake. Good. Now, if you want to see the task, which command you have to use?
Show task, sir.
Show task. Show task.
Sir.
Yes, sir. MS Juniors, show task. Okay, now you can see DB load serverless. You can see that part alone. And then database name is DB, AWS DB, schema is public schema, account admin owner, and then you can see the schedule as well. There is no precedence. Okay, what state it is?
Suspended state.
If you want to make it resume state, what command I have to give?
Alter.
Task
Task name. DB load server.
db want
Receipt.
to make it resume. Yeah, now you can see the show task again. You can see like this is the ID. Okay, for a task this is the ID, database name, schema name, owner, and chill 2 minutes. The state is started, and then the definition I given is I want to insert into the table. Okay, val is 123 Anand Sendamal, and then war live function I will talk to this on the tomorrow. Okay, how to use the allowing overlapping executions. Okay, if any error happen, we can use one feature called error integration. Using SNS, whenever the error occurred into the table, right, while inserting records, if any error happen, through SNS you can send a mail. Who know SNS? Guys, who know SNS? SNS stands for SNS
Simple
stands for
notification.
Simple
simple notification
notification
service.
service.
Services. While inserting records in table, if you're getting any errors, right, if you are getting some error integration, you can use SNS and then you can send a mail. Because of this issue, I'm not able to insert the records. Okay, error integration also possible here. And then when it got last committed, and then you can see the configuration budget. Okay, that's no precedence. Everything can see. Now there's one more command called describe task. Describe task. I think it's a task, not task. Describe task. Okay, describe task name. I think hope you have to give db load serverless. Describe task and then you have to give db load serverless. Yeah, it's getting results. You can see when got created, what's the name, what is the ID, database name, schema name, owner, schedule, the state we can see started, and then you can see the records. Okay, the same thing can able to see using the describe command. Now I'm going to show the downstream table. What's our downstream table? Our downstream table,
Employee info, sir.
employee info. Just you can see the records. You can see, right? After 2 minutes, what happened? The ID got inserted. 123, first name is Anand, last name is Sendamal. Like this, you can write some complex queries, not only single queries, you can write procs. If you are using multiple queries, you can use procs. If you are using single queries, you can use SQL statements. Okay, this thing you can do. You can write with class as well. Or if you can write with class. With class means common table expressions you can use. Okay, this thing you can follow. Now, I'm going to show a few more things, guys. Very important. Just I'll take this introduction page. I want to show all things. Yeah, yeah, good. This one is streams, this one is versions. Yeah, yeah. Now I'm going to show the task history. This entire history will be in the information schema. I said information schema is going to the neural scheme. It's going to have all the database object informations. Okay, just click on this one. I'm going to talk about the task history. Okay, now using the task history, you can see how much task got created, when it got executed, okay, whether it's success or not, whether you're having any errors, what's the root task ID, everything I can able to see using task history. Now what I'm going to do is, if you have time guys, just read the documentation. I'm directly going to execute the command directly. This is a command to see all your histories using task history. which schema is present? It is present in information
schema.
schema.
Information
Under that, we have to put task history and ordered by schedule time. One column is there. Based on schedule time, I'm putting the ascending order. Okay. Just copy this command and then execute it. Now you can see all the task informations because task history is going to give the informations. It's running, guys. Now you can see this is a query ID. Okay. Because I see in this I did various tasks, right? My task, everything, right? The previous task information you can see, that is my task. It's running in database and schema, and then you can see the queries as well. First name, last name, 101. It's running, and then what is the state? It's important, guys. Succeeded. If it is failed, means you'll get the failed state here. Okay, and then you can see the error code. If it is failed, you can see the error code, error message, why it got failed. Okay, and then when it got scheduled, and then what is the query start time, what's the next schedule time, when it's going to schedule next, and then when it got completed, and then root task ID. This is very important, guys. For every task, we will have a root task ID. If you are giving the support team, right, you have to provide the root task ID as well. Okay, for if you're creating only one task, right, that will be a root. Under the root, if you're creating various child tasks, right, okay, definitely that consumer, not consumer, support team will ask the root task ID. Based on the root task ID, we will check the progress, what happens, and then see the versions. What version we have? What version we
one,
have?
sir.
One
One.
version, version 1. And what's the run ID? This run ID is very important. For each task, we have different run IDs. And then see it's executing C. Now it's now it is
Execute.
what is happening? Executing. The remaining all are scheduled. Okay,
Schedule.
like this you can see the status. Okay, what's the query hash value? How many attempts it took? Okay, every information you can capture. What's the graph run group ID? If you are running so much of child test, right, and that's going to be the graph run group ID. Okay, all kind of informations available in where it is
Task
in
history.
task
Task history.
history. Okay, you can see the task history. Now I'm going to show. Now someone will ask me a question. If I want to see from this range to this range, from starting date to end date. Now what you have to do, right? Just you can copy and then you can give the ranges, date ranges. This date I want to track. Just put some year. Okay, now it's going to the 24 and then you can make it 6. Now date is 11, right? 11 and then make it 24 and then just make it 06 and then make it 11 and then change the time as well. 12 to something you can make it somewhat 12 to make it somewhat 23. Just run this query, you will get the informations. See, I think I'm not giving the exact time because it's running 5 years ahead, right? Okay, now if you know the exact time, right, you can give the time and then you can get the for corresponding time you can get the information. Okay, that's not a big deal, guys. Now this is how we can see a task history. Now next table I'm going to show which task got completed. Okay, there is a one more table I want to show is complete task graph. Okay, just go here, guys. I think this is not the right complete. Okay, I think it's not right time to show the root graph because tomorrow I'm going to take about the or graphs everything. Okay, task history is shown, and then what I can show to you guys. Yeah, 1 minute. Few things I want to show. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the task functions. What are the task functions we have? Okay, we're going to have 4 task functions. One is system function current user task name. Okay, if you are using this function, what will happen, right? I'll show what I'm creating one task, the values I'm choosing, schedule is 5 minutes. In the insert table, I'm putting the current TS timestamp. The task is, you can see it's a system function. System dollar of current user task name. While inserting the table, what result I'm getting? Database name dot schema name dot
Task name. Task name.
task name. If you want to get the task name, what system function you have to use? Sendam Anand, what system function we have to use? Sendam Anand, if you want to get the current task name, what system function we have to use?
The system's
System
current user task name.
system dollar, who is the dollar of current user task name. Okay, this is a function to get your current task name. Now next parameter I'm going to show task runtime information. This is another task function, system function actually. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the example to you guys. Okay, they're creating so much task. Okay, the examples, yeah. Runtime information. Okay, task runtime information it's showing, right? Okay. Okay, see guys, this is nothing but here one system function. System task runtime information. If you need any runtime information about your task, you can pass an argument name here. Once you pass the argument name, right, what are the arguments you can pass? You can pass current task name. What will happen? It's going to give the current task name. If you want to provide this argument, it's going to give the current root task name. It's going to give. Okay. If you pass current root task UID, it's going to give the unique identifier. It's going to give. And then if you pass current task run group ID, it's going to give the current task run group ID information. It's going to give. Okay. If you want to know this information, what the function we have to use? What function we have to use? System
System dollar task.
dollar of task runtime info. Okay, this is a task functions. Okay, see guys, we'll see tomorrow about task depends, because while taking root I'll cover this part as well. Okay, one task is dependent on another task is dependent on another task. Okay, we'll cover all these informations, but as of now keep in mind, if you want to get any information, you can pass the argument and then you can pass the value of the argument. You can pass the key of the argument and get the value, current task name, current root task name, everything you can able to get it. Okay, the today agenda is how to create a serverless Snowflake task. Even though it's serverless, initially you have to initialize one small warehouse. As per the workloads, it will choose your warehouse sizes, and then you cannot use serverless task for streams. Okay, Hoodie tables, calls Hoodie tables, iceberg tables, data tables we can't use in what feature it is. The feature name I shown to you guys is um,
Serverless.
not serverless. That one feature I explained to you guys, trigger task. Okay, you can't use any Hoodie tables or iceberg tables, data tables. You can't use in trigger task. Okay, once the new data comes in, you will take the delta and insert a downstream table. That's it.